All right, so I've said that Microsoft Copilot is probably the most important commercial product that will actually do some good for people. And here you can build your own version of it. This is a RAG, Retrieval Augmented Generation. And you can make your own. It's very simple. So this is the most famous RAG system, Microsoft Copilot 365, and we're going to make our own. And the first one doesn't even use any AI or any large language model. You feed in some data, like here's just a data of sentences, things you might do for fun. And then you just calculate Jacquard similarity, which is just count the number of words that match something here. So now when someone asks a question, it will just find the sentence in the data that most closely matches your question. So if you ask it, what is leisure activity you like? I like to hike. It will tell you to take a walk in the park. If you tell it I don't like to hike, it will tell you to take a walk in the park because it doesn't understand the sentence at all. It's just finding the word hike in there. It finds the line that contains more words of the words you put in and repeats it back to you. That is retrieval augmented generation. It's pretty miserable. Since I don't have a large language model, it doesn't actually understand the meaning of the sentence, but it does more or less work. And I just noticed there's a typo here, and yet somehow it noticed it. So I wonder if it's actually matching letter by letter and not word by word. But anyway, that's retrieval augmented generation in its simplest case. Now, what's better is to run a local model, OLAMA. I'll talk, this is a way to run a model locally. Now it's listening on an API, and this is the second RAG. And this one is going to use a local model. This is OLAMA, which is Facebook's LLM. You can download it and run it locally on your machine easily. And so it works sort of like Gemini or ChatGPT or any of them. I have the same data here, but now what I'm going to do is the user puts in what is a leisure activity that you like. And then what it's going to send to the model is going to include more data. It's going to say, you are a bot that makes recommendations. You answer in very short sentences. This is the recommended activity. And it's going to have the relevant documents here. It's going to do that matching, just looking for matching words. And it's going to add data from the database that contain the matching words. So some of this data is going to be added before your question, the user input, compile a recommendation. So now, when you run that thing and you say, I like to hike, here's what it actually sends. This information, this is the recommended activity. Go for a hike and admire the natural scenery. The user input is this, compile a recommendation, and here's the recommendation. And notice, since it is a large language model, it didn't just repeat this sentence. It rephrased this sentence. Based on your interest in hiking, I recommend going for a hike in nearby nature. The scenery will be beautiful, and so on. So it wrote a whole couple of sentences based on this information and that question. And now, if you tell it, I don't like to hike, it will again say the recommended activity is go for a hike because the retrieval augmented part is still stupid. It's just matching words. But the LLM understands English well enough to know it shouldn't say that. You don't enjoy hiking, so do something else, and it makes up something else. So that's pretty interesting. That's the second RAG. Now this RAG still has a really small database, just like 10 sentences about leisure activities, just as a demonstration. So I wanted to make a more realistic one, like what my customers are asking for in my consulting. And so I took the National Institute for Standards AI security recommendation. I mentioned in the first lecture. I took a whole bunch of that and put in like some sentences from it. So here's sentences from the government about various AI risks, and put those in instead. And now, when you run that one, you can ask, what AI risk are you interested in? And I can say world domination. And here's what it actually sent. It went and looked up GI can exacerbate risk and create unique risks. It picked up relevant things. And here's what it said as an expert in government-related security. World domination is purely fictional. It's a pretty good answer, the one I've been saying. This is garbage, but it does talk about other things that might matter. So, you know, it's not bad. And that's what I wanted to show you. This is where you can really understand what Microsoft Copilot is doing by building your own little version of the same thing. So, stop this one.